Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you were to look at a topographical map of peninsular India right now, honestly, it can look like an absolute chaotic jumble of mountains, right? It's just a lot to take in. But today, we're going to completely decode all of that. We are turning this complex geography into a very memorable, visually structured journey from north to south. By the time we're done here, you are going to have a crystal clear mental map of these majestic mountain ranges. You won't just know where they are, but you'll genuinely understand the rich history, the unique ecology, and the vibrant culture they hold. It's going to be a really fun ride.
Here is our roadmap for the journey. We've got 5 main stops. First, the Peninsular Triangle. Second, Karnataka's Coffee Peaks. Third, Andhra's Eastern Ghats. Fourth, Tamil Nadu's Sacred Hills. And finally, number 5, the Deep South Convergence. We're going to navigate this inverted geographic triangle from top to bottom, and I promise you, we're going to make these vital locations literally impossible to forget.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the Peninsular Triangle.
So, to get our bearings, peninsular India essentially forms a massive inverted triangle. Picture it. You've got the Arabian Sea bordering it to the west, the Bay of Bengal over to the east, and these massive northern ranges like the Vindhya and Satpura acting as the top boundary. It is a huge, distinct topographical zone. Now, within this giant peninsula, geographers generally divide the hills into 3 main systems. You have the mountains of Gujarat, the Western Ghats, and the Eastern Ghats. But for the sake of this explainer, we are going to focus exclusively on the amazingly dynamic and diverse systems of the Western and Eastern Ghats. We'll be traveling steadily south, kind of zigzagging between these 2 great mountainous spines, because they really are the formations that define the climate, the culture, and the ecology of all of South India.
Moving right along to Section 2, Karnataka's Coffee Peaks.
Okay, so our expedition actually kicks off high up in Karnataka, specifically in the Chikmagaluru district at the Baba Budangiri Range. And this place is incredible. It's home to the state's absolute highest peak, Mullayanagiri, which stands incredibly proud at 1,930 meters. That's roughly 6,330 feet up. Now, while it's a huge hotspot for trekking, its real claim to fame is actually historical. The range gets its name from a legendary 16th century Sufi saint named Baba Budan. As the story goes, when he was traveling from Arabia back to India, he secretly smuggled a handful of coffee seeds with him, just a few seeds. And because of that one act, this very mountain range became the literal birthplace of Indian coffee cultivation. How crazy is that? But it's not just coffee here. The region is packed with rich iron reserves, and if you happen to time your visit absolutely perfectly, you might even spot the rare Karinji flowers. These things are legendary because they only bloom once every 12 years. Talk about exclusive.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, Andhra's Eastern Ghats.
So moving east into Andhra Pradesh, the topography really starts to change. We hit this rugged, fascinating series of ranges in the Eastern Ghats. Instead of towering peaks, we start seeing lower hills, these sprawling, beautiful valleys, and really complex winding river systems. We start over in the west with the Aramala Hills, which are famous for the absolutely gorgeous Gandikota Uma Maheshwara Swami Temple. Then, as we move further east, we run into the Nalamala Range. This one is no joke. It stretches an impressive 430 kilometers, running parallel to the Coromandel coast. It is incredibly dense, super lush, and it's actually home to the massive Nagarjunasagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve. To put that 430 kilometers into perspective, that is a vast, uninterrupted stretch of pure wilderness. And then we have the Vellakonda Range. While its peaks aren't heavily populated, its valleys are these bustling agricultural hubs. They do a ton of heavy peanut and jawar farming there. And as we look at all these northern ranges, it's absolutely crucial to notice how the mighty Krishna and Penna rivers completely influence the geography, the tourism, and the agriculture of this whole area.
As we continue our journey south, literal translations are going to become our absolute best friends for remembering these places. Take the Palkonda Hills in Andhra Pradesh, for example. In Telugu, Pal means milk and Konda means hill. So literally, the Milk Hills. Nature puts on a spectacular show here. Right in the natural corridor between the Vellakonda and Palkonda ranges, you have the Pincha and Cheru rivers merging together. And when they do, they form this massive, visually stunning gorge that you really have to see to believe.
Just south of the Milk Hills, we hit the majestic Sesashalam Range near Tirupati. Now, this range is a big deal. It is deeply sacred, and ecologically, it's pretty much irreplaceable. Culturally speaking, it's anchored by 7 distinct peaks. Tradition says these represent the 7 hoods of the mythical serpent Lord Adi Shesha. Ancient texts even say that Lord Vishnu was so mesmerized by the beauty of these hills that he chose to meditate right here. On the ecological side, the whole area was officially designated as a biosphere reserve in 2010. Why? Mostly because it protects these massive, super rare reserves of red sandalwood. This is a highly prized resource used in medicine and spiritual rituals all over the globe. So protecting it is absolutely crucial.
Let's cross the border now for Section 4, Tamil Nadu's Sacred Hills.
So as the Eastern Ghats continue south through districts like Vellore and Salem, we first pass through the Javadi and Shevaroy Hills. The Javadi Hills are culturally super rich, home mostly to the Malayali tribes and featuring gorgeous spots like the Bhima Falls. The Shevaroy Hills stretch over 400 square kilometers and are famous for historic coffee estates and the popular Yercaud Hill Station. But then, going a bit further down, we find Pachamalai. And just like before, the literal translation tells you exactly what you need to know. In Tamil, Pachai means green, and Malay means hill. The Green Hill. It is an incredibly lush, vibrant ecosystem, heavily nourished by the Swetha and Kala rivers. It's so pristine, in fact, that the Tamil Nadu government is actively developing it as a major eco-tourist destination, packed with these totally gorgeous waterfalls. Marking the final stretch of the Eastern Ghats, we arrive at the dense Surumali Hills. Now, I love this part because this range perfectly showcases how agriculture can be directly tied to ancient religious practices. The hilltops here don't just grow any crops, they grow a very specific, exclusive variety of banana. And this exact banana is a required, essential ingredient for making the sacred Panchamrutham, which is a really important religious offering at the renowned Palani Murugan temple nearby. It's just such an amazing intersection of local geography and deep-rooted tradition.
And finally, we reach Section 5, the Deep South Convergence.
This is it, the spectacular climax of our journey. Everything we've been tracking, the Western Ghats making their way down the left coast and the Eastern Ghats moving down the right, they finally have to meet. And when they do, right in the Deep South, they create some of the most biodiverse, elevated and honestly stunning landscapes in all of India. As the two systems merge on the border of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, we find the Nilgiri Hills. Nilgiri translates to the Blue Mountains. These thick forests are the prized home of the Nilgiri Tower, which is actually Tamil Nadu's state animal. Just a bit further south from there, we hit the Anamalai Range, which translates to the Elephant Hills. This incredibly dense, monsoon forest-covered range is the literal physical junction where these two great Goth systems lock together.
2,695. 2695. That towering number is the exact elevation in meters of Anamudi. Located right on the Anamalai Range, Anamudi is not just a really tall peak, it is the absolute highest peak in all of southern India. It literally represents the geographic pinnacle of the entire peninsular triangle we've been exploring today. Standing there, you are at the very top of the southern world.
Our journey wraps up at the very extreme tip of the peninsula. Heading south of the Anamudi Peak, we enter the Cardamom Hills. Now, as you can probably guess from the name, these hills have been famous for cardamom and spice cultivation since way back in the 19th century. But they're also a globally recognized UNESCO World Heritage Site and host the incredible Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary. Right next door to that, at the absolute southern end, is Agastya Malai. Named after the ancient sage Agastya, this single mountain range is practically a biological gold mine. It acts as the natural, undisturbed habitat for over 2,000 distinct species of medicinal plants. 2,000! It's an absolute powerhouse of natural medicine. All right, to lock all of this in, especially if you're prepping for competitive exams, I've got a challenge for you. Take these 4 ranges, Pachamalai, Palani, Shevaroy, and Javadi. Based on the route we just took, can you logically deduce the correct north to south sequence for these? Think back to the translations and the landmarks we discussed, figure it out, and drop your answer in the comments below. I want to see who gets it right. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and as always, keep exploring.